welcome to the Unitary Fund Microgrant Winner video series. Today, we're featuring Lia, Sam, and Alberto of Quantum Universal Education. So, can each of you tell me a little bit about your background prior to winning the grant?
I guess I'll start. I grew up and was born and raised in California in the US. And what was the first thing that made me realize that I wanted to study computer science, and I guess most memorably, was that I taught programming at a summer camp for a few summers, and that led me to major in computer science in undergrad at UC Santa Barbara. And at the time, at the start of it, I tried to sit in on a physics class, and the professor actually said it was for physics majors only, and asked me if I wanted to major in physics. And that inspired me to also major in physics, although it was completely unintentional at the time, not premeditated. And that made me interested in the intersection between physics and computer science, and that led me to study quantum computing. So I'm now a PhD student at the University of Oxford researching quantum computing. It's been a long journey.
Awesome. Alberto?
Sorry, it's my turn. In my case, I grew up in Mexico City. I was always interested in physics and mathematics from my university and in high school. So in this case, I was studying computer science. When I started my master's degree, I was discovered about quantum computing and how we can explore different parts of the physics. So I was so interested in this area, and well, I studied more about quantum computing from the Global Summer School of Qiskit 2020. And when I made this meeting with Lia and the other guys about Unitary Fund and the project about people interested in quantum universal education.
Very cool. Sam?
Yeah, so I grew up in Delhi in India. I had a lot of interest in STEM-based subjects growing up, and I took a lot of subjects in STEM in high school. I did my undergrad in computer science, and I was looking for ways to use software to do research in physics when I discovered quantum computing. And since then, I've been sort of entangled with the quantum computing community, if you will. I reached out to a lot of community members. We hosted meetups and study sessions and that sort of thing to just generate more discussion and community engagement in my region. Then I met my current group at the summer school in 2020. And since then, I've been working with Quantum Universal Education to make educational resources and the quantum community experience even more accessible to everyone online.
That's great. So Lia, maybe you could talk a little bit about the project problem statement.
Yeah. I don't know if problem statement is the right word for it, but basically the problem we wanted to address with this microgrant, the Unitary Fund microgrant project proposal, the reason why we originally started the proposal, as Alberto said, we met at Qiskit Global Summer School. And actually at that time I had applied to the Unitary Fund microgrant because at the time I had taught a course in quantum computing undergrad seminar course at UC Santa Barbara. I don't know why at the college they let undergrads teach other undergrads, but that's what happened. And that was addressing a shortage that I could perceive of ways to learn quantum computing versus the people who are interested in learning them. So especially at the university level, there's could be a lot of barriers with learning quantum computing. There's not that many courses available, and it's such a new and interdisciplinary subject. It often takes years to decades to develop the formal education. So a lot of people learning quantum technologies at the time, and also now are doing it in a more informal and self-driven manner. So because there was such a lack of or hard to find open, available, and free learning material, especially beginners, because there might be a lot more for cutting edge research, it was quite difficult to learn, and so I wanted to help make the learning resources more accessible, especially for students like myself and the ones I had learned quantum with.
That's great. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the highlights of what you achieved through the project.
I'm not sure where we should start. Should we just go down the list?
Sure.
So what we first started was after Qiskit Global Summer School ended, we started that was on Discord, and we found Discord to be like a cool place where you could meet a lot of people, especially during the pandemic. It was just really cool to meet people from all over the world, all learning quantum computing. And yeah, it was really a welcoming environment. And since Qiskit Global Summer School, they removed their Discord server after, we could see a lot of people interested in starting their own Discord servers. And we started a Discord server for our community called People Interested in Quantum Universal Education, or acronym PIQUE. And this was a place where I think it was a safe space where people could ask questions and get to meet each other. And I met so many people online and just all over the world who are in learning quantum on their own and doing really, really cool things. We also started a website along with this, and so the main focus of the microgrant is to make a website of learning resources, blog posts, and software tutorials. We started off with a t-shirt design contest, and we used the Unitary Fund microgrant primarily to fund t-shirts that with a cool design that to thank the people who make contributions and help curate the learning materials that are on the website. I'll turn it over to Alberto to say more about the tutorials, comics, and other stuff on the website.
Yes, in this case, I was interested to share different, how we can study quantum computer. We are starting to design different tutorials with different frameworks about how we can install, how we can play the hello world about quantum computing, how we can understand this kind of framework, because it's difficult to start in a new area when you only have a basic concept. It could be a point of view about computer science, mathematics, or physics. That's a great opportunity. And we designed different comics about explaining basic concepts about quantum gains, the qubit, the Hilbert space, with the image about a mascot about the cat. Is represented the qubit with a cat, and we can explore this in a funny way and explain the main concept for intermediate level about quantum computing.
Yeah, if I were to add on to that, I realized I forgot to mention, when we say learning resources, we mean this in a very general way. So this is quite a community-driven approach where people can propose the learning resources they want to make or adapt an existing learning resource. And by having it in a space and also having it be curated, so we have volunteers such as ourselves, but also from around the community, who volunteer to help read and give feedback, constructive feedback on how to improve these learning resources and how to tie them in with each other. So some examples could be the programming tutorials that Alberto mentioned, and Alberto also made these cute cat comics about introducing rocket notation and other typically more intimidating parts in a very friendly way of learning quantum computing. And we also get, I also think it's very important that people can help others learn even while they are learning themselves. So we even have like a high schooler who made a blog post about quantum coins and that analogy to talk about superposition and how qubits work in that way. Something that I personally am very proud of is the quantum hardware page, because that was our effort. Alberto, Sam, and I, and a bunch of others drew a bunch of open access, just free to use art of all of 9 different quantum computing hardwares, such that people could see that there's many different ways that a quantum computer could look and get an idea of how it looks like, also drawn in a more friendly way.
Very cool. Yeah. I'm definitely going to check it out myself.
maybe I can pick up for the rest of some of our results, or is that all you need, Misty? Just yeah. No, I'll try and keep it brief. Coming back to teaching others by learning yourself. We have this really cool part of our project where we host beginner-friendly journal clubs. So some of our team members host or schedule monthly or bi-weekly journal clubs where they decide on a paper that would be rather easily approachable, and announce it on the Discord server that, hey, we're going to have this paper to discuss about. You can go on and read about this. If you have questions, we have a question bank. You can post your questions and we can come back and look at that. And on the day of the event, we have moderators who drive the discussion in a constructive manner, take questions that were posted in the days leading up to the journal club meeting, and also take live questions from the audience and try to engage the audience as much as possible to get as much information out of those research papers and kind of make it a widely accessible resource. So the journal club is a really proud achievement of ours. In addition to that, we also have worked on a lot of reports in quantum education based on some of the meetings that we have hosted as part of IEEE Quantum Education on teaching and mentoring high school students in the field and how to tackle, say, topics like developing curriculum or how to make difficult concepts more easy to approach. So these are some of the more quantum education-driven things that we have focused on in the past. But also, we've done some really fun things as well. In addition to the t-shirt design, we hosted a Quantum Secret Santa event where we gifted members on the server topics on quantum information and quantum computation, and try and write articles, curate resources, and just share with each other in a really fun way. That was awesome.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe now we could pivot to the skills and experience that each of you gained from executing the project.
I think we just tried to each think about what we learned. I learned that there's a lot that we can do if we put our mind to it. I could have never imagined that this became so much more meaningful than I ever could have imagined. There's more to our team here, so we have Sam and Alberto here and myself, but there's lots of other people on our team that I'm really grateful that I got to meet all over the world, especially during pandemic. I wouldn't have thought that people could connect from so far away. So I have a lot of, I found out there's a lot in common that we have, and we have a lot of memories we've shared, and it's been a really, really memorable journey for me.
That's great to hear. How about Alberto?
In my case, I learned a lot of things and I improved a lot of skills because I never draw or design different infographics or flyers. In this program, I learned a lot of this. I tried to explain different concepts because it was difficult to try to explain in my university about quantum computing. In this community, I can explore how to express my ideas, how to be more concise with different concepts and try to improve my skills in different communication, because in this I never use a lot of social media. In this after this I explore different social media, how to share different posts or design different events like a hackathon.
And Sam?
That's a good question. I'd say having it brought a realization that having access to good quality open source resources is really important for building a skilled and adept community, regardless of their background. And this project just continues to motivate me to advocate for more avenues for equal and diverse discussion around the field, as well as helps me and hopefully others gain a mutual sense of accomplishment by contributing to each other's growth in the field.
Awesome. Yeah. And finally, how have you built on your project results or the experience you gained since it officially ended?
I'll just note that we kind of for this interview just said that the official ending date was about a year after we started the project, but we never ended, so we just kind of had to arbitrarily cut off somewhere. And so what we talked about so far, the results was before about a year's time, and then that ended up with we kind of set the cutoff as the 1-year PIQUE anniversary celebration. So last time we were to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, we had a lot of talks and meetups from all over the world, and from high school to postdoc levels of different, and professionals of different topics around quantum software, around quantum education, around lots of people's research. It was really cool. So I'll leave Tim and Alberto to talk about all the stuff we've done since then.
After that, we designed other different competition, like the main competition for the last year. We can try to design it for the celebrate this new year about how we can connect the funny way of things and the concepts about quantum computing. We can share different topics because we can learn more in a funny way with means. And so we designed a hackathon in Spanish in Mexico and in my university, how we can motivate, in this case in Latin America, the quantum computing. We invite different people and around the world how to do a talk at different concepts about quantum computing, and the people attending this event, they love this idea. They want more about in Spanish how we can explain quantum computing. And one feedback it was for a PhD student. She's motivated in this area and she loves, and she doesn't know about quantum computing before this hackathon, and she motivated to participate with a project that it was a good opportunity to improve, connect with this new area and run with a lot of people.
And I guess I'll carry on what we've done in quantum education so far. So since then, we've also organized and hosted a discussion session on quantum education as part of the IBM Educator Summit sometime in the summer of 2021. And later that fall, we also organized a workshop on quantum education as part of IEEE Quantum Week, where we invited speakers from different backgrounds, educators and professionals from academia and industry to talk about different learning methods in quantum information and quantum education, and how to make that more approachable for high schoolers specifically. And later this year, we're planning and preparing for a quantum education conference at IEEE Quantum Week.
So many great initiatives in this project, and thank you all for joining today.